I just finished watching Rush. If you don't know what it's a 2013, I think it was, film about the rivalry between racing drivers Nikki Lauda and James Hunt. It's a Ron Howard film. It's a really good film, actually. It's Chris Hemsworth as Hunt, Daniel Bruhl as Nikki Lauda. And before, and I really enjoyed the film. It's great. It's great. Like all films are great. You know, Ron Howard always puts together really solid dramas. He's really good at that. He's really good at all types of films, actually. The only thing I'm gonna not really criticise, because I noticed it. There's a line in the film right towards the end of the film, and on the IMDb page of the film of Rush, it even quotes it because it's said by Nikki Lauda in the film, and it's attributed to him in the quotes. So I don't know if it's something he really said in real life and they've incorporated it into the script, or if it's just a line of script. And the line is, "A wise man learns more from his enemies than a fool does from his friends." Nice. Good sentiment. Especially when the film is about two rivals. It's about respect. It's about him acknowledging the fact that actually you can be pushed further in life. You can learn more about the essence of life. You can learn more lessons about life through rivalry, through having an enemy to combat, to work against. You know, it can push you to be greater, to be better, to excel. My problem is, the line itself is silly. It's kind of meaningless. You know, I understand that the sentiment is fine, and I totally get the sentiment. But when you look at the line, "A wise man learns more from his enemies than a fool does from his friends," well, actually, a wise man learns more from anything than a fool does from anything. You know, you can replace those things with anything else and the line is just as valid, you know? A wise man learns more from a dog shit than a fool does from a dictionary. You know, because fools don't learn stuff. A fool wouldn't read a dictionary. A wise man will look at anything and discern good things from it. Will observe and learn and understand and perceive from anything, whether it's an enemy or a friend. So the line kind of doesn't really work in a way because you've got a wise man and fool. You know, a wise man is wise and a fool is a fool. That's all you need to say. You don't have to add things to it to make it more complex. So it just kind of like struck me as being a bit of an old line. You know, a wise man learns more from a fool than a fool does from a wise man. I think I like that better, actually. It's just as nonsensical in the end when you analyse it. You break it down too hard. But then a lot of quotations taken out of context or said as little aphorisms don't really bear close examination often, you know, you especially when I'm looking at it, because I tend to do that. This is kind of what I like to do. You know, I don't want to criticise films for any valid reasons, because I love films. But I will sometimes pick at little details and go, "That was a bit fucking silly." Also, my second thing that I thought of all the way through the film, Nikki Lauda. You know, Lauda as a surname, it's just a heaven sent for comedy, really, isn't it? Lauda. It's just, you can just imagine, can't you? Him in an interview or something, the interviewer saying, "What's your surname?" "Lauda." "What's your surname?" You know, it's just waiting for it. That's not me being funny. That could be true for many reasons there. Either it's not funny or I'm not even making a joke there. It's just sitting there waiting. And that's what I often do is I see jokes. There's a joke over there. It's just sitting there waiting for someone to tell it. And nobody else has seen it. I'm going to go get it. And I'm going to tell it. You know, that's me when it comes to humour. I spot things. Not always. Sometimes I invent stuff. But sometimes I spot things that are already there. Obvious, glaring. And everybody around is oblivious to it for some reason. Probably because they don't look for humour like I do. You know, I've been a writer all my life. And most of the things I write are humorous. In fact, very rare I've written anything that hasn't had some kind of element of humour about it. And so what that does, and I think most writers will probably tell you this, but I think, is that when you get into that mindset where you're writing all the time, especially like me, I'm usually working on several different things. I'm working on a film script, a comedy film script at the moment. I'm working on several novels, and also doing these vlogs has kind of taught my brain to notice things. Like when watching this film today, I was thinking, oh, I'm going to talk about that afterwards. I'm going to talk about that line and Nikki Lauda, and Nikki, what's his name? Lauda. What's his name? So yeah, so my brain is always on, always kind of looking for stories, looking for plots, looking for jokes, looking for solutions to problems in a story that I might be working on, ways to weave this and weave that, and to tell a tale and spin a yarn, as they say. It just means that I'm on all the time, and that's why I think I see jokes that other people don't see. And sometimes they're not very good jokes, but you know, there's that thing as well. There's that thing that sometimes when I've noticed a joke, even if I know it's a terrible joke, I have to say it, almost as if to like exercise it from me. Otherwise, it festers in your head. You know, a joke is like a sneeze. You know, and if you don't let it out, you'll go and your eye pops out. That's why I've learned not to really care if people don't find me funny, because it's at the end of the day, it's not really for them. You know, when I make a joke, like when I make these videos, it's kind of for me, because this helps me to deal with stuff every day. This helps me, even just doing this, it's a kind of a therapy, I think, as well as anything, but it's also giving my thoughts in my head chance to get out there somewhere without me having to inflict it on another person. You know, I just put it on this video and I put it on YouTube, and if people watch it, they watch it, and if they don't, they don't. A weird thing's happening on YouTube though. You know, I get a few views a day at the moment, and a weird thing happened the other day is that I had 7 views on this one video. I went to bed, got up the next morning, refreshed the page, and it went down to 0, and it stayed there at 0. And it's like, hello. Yeah, I'm not gonna recall that joke. The Lauda thing, I was going to try and figure out another way to do it a third time to finish off this. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do the callback. You know, I've done the setup, I did a follow-up. I'm not going to do the actual for the finished callback. Because I don't have to. That's something else I like to do as a writer. I like to set things up in an obvious way and then just not pay them off.